Romeo and Juliet. We saw until the friar, in the meantime, would keep Romeo informed of the happenings in Verona. Then, Romeo gained entry into Juliet's chamber and stayed there that night. They spent a night of joy and elation. But soon it was daybreak, and Romeo had to take leave of her, as he had to beyond the city walls before morning, or he would be put to death. Soon, Lord Capulet began to look for suitors for Juliet and fixed up one. Count Paris, a good match for Juliet if she had never beheld Romeo. Lord Capulet turned a deaf ear to all her arguments against her marriage then. He could not bear the idea that his daughter, out of feigned weakness, should be against her own good fortune. Juliet sought the friar's advice in this trying situation. He advised her to give her consent for the wedding and seem to marry, but drink the phial of medicine on the night before the wedding. For the next 42 hours, she would seem cold and lifeless. He would inform Romeo of the matter, and Romeo would come at night and take her to Mantua. Juliet readily agreed to this idea. She informed Paris that she would become his bride. Lord Capulet and his wife were gladdened by her words. No efforts were spared to celebrate Juliet's wedding in a manner as never before had been witnessed in Verona. On Wednesday night, the night before the day of the wedding, Juliet consumed the potion, suppressing her fears if she had been poisoned by the friar, and if she would wake before Romeo came, and how the burial place would be, whether it was haunted. When Lord Paris came to awaken his bride with music, what he found was only a cold, lifeless body. He grieved at this misfortune. Still more pitiable was the state of Lord and Lady Capulet to see their only child having been snatched away by death. All preparation for her marriage festival were turned into the task of the funeral ceremony. The news of Juliet's death reached Romeo before the messenger from the friar. The news of Juliet's death reached Romeo before the messenger from the friar. Equipping himself with a bottle of poison, he had set out to see his lady in her tomb. When he had seen her in the grave, he would also die consuming the poison and be buried by her side. He also carried with him a light and spade to break open the monument. When he was about to break Juliet's tomb, a voice warned him against doing so. It was young Count Paris, who had come to mourn his lady's death. They picked a quarrel, and soon Paris fell dead. Romeo then opened Juliet's grave, where she appeared in all beauty, still very fresh, as she had in reality only consumed a potion which had put her to sleep. Romeo consumed the poison. The friar, learning that his messenger to Mantua had been delayed, come to release Juliet, but was surprised to find light in the Capulet's monument. With shock, did he see Paris and Romeo dead by the monument. Juliet recovered from her sleep and asked for prayer for Romeo. They heard noise of people approaching. Juliet saw Romeo's body and the poison cup in his hands. Realizing that Romeo had ended his life by consuming poison, stabbed herself with her dagger and fell dead by her lover's side. A large crowd of people assembled at the Capulets monument, and the friar was demanded to confess whatever he knew of the tragic happenings. The friar faithfully related all that had happened, beginning from the love between Romeo and Juliet until the tragic death of the young couple. He also mentioned the part that he played, hoping to settle the long drawn enmity between the two families. The two lords buried their enmity in the grave of their children and shook hands as a sign of reconciliation. Lord Montagu said that he would raise a pure golden statue of Juliet, and Capulet declared that he would raise a statue of Romeo. Thus, the two lords removed the deep rooted hatred and jealousy in their minds only after their children had fallen prey to it. Romeo and Juliet.